Hello, my name is Zachary Griggs, and I'm going to take you through an example of how you can automate getting data from various different sources loaded into a system such as Sage Intacct when that data that you're receiving might just be in some type of extract. It could just be a CSV file, a random flat file that you're getting sent or picking up from somewhere or downloading from one of these systems. So it's a very flexible way to collect data and then still get it into the target system in an automated fashion. So let's play out the scenario where maybe I have my payroll system and it doesn't have a native connection. And so what I want to do is go into that system, download the report or receive it via email. Once I have that report, I have the ability to come into my inbox here. And then once I'm in my inbox, I can send an email. In this case, I'm going to send it to this location, zgpayroll@datablendfiles.com. This is a specific inbox that was set up for my use case. Each of you, if you set up a email ingestion for files like this, would have your own. And so there's no sharing of these. There's no need to use any personal inboxes. It comes with the functionality of using the email ingestion. It also is whitelisting whatever sender ID that you're going to be using. And so you don't have to worry about anyone on the internet finding this email and then sending in spam or additional information. It will only accept any emails that are coming from very specific senders. And you can set those senders to be a software. So if Sage Intacct or another like this HRIS system or payroll system has their own sender ID or sender email and you want to use that on the whitelist, you can. So it doesn't have to actually be a person that's sending it. But in this case, I've attached a file. It's a CSV file. It looks nothing like what needs to get into Intacct. And so I'm going to now send this. I don't need to put a body on here. I don't need to put any type of subject. I just simply hit send. You can even use email forwarding if you want to. You have a lot of different options, but as long as you get that file into an email and you send it to that location, it's going to then go through DataBlend. I'll give it a second, give it a refresh. Usually takes about 10-15 seconds. Yep, you can see it already picked up there. Here, it recognized that the file that I sent was related to payroll, and so it kicked off my payroll integration. It's going to now run through this process. Should take about 30-40 seconds to complete. It's going to take the email, take the file from the email, transform it, do what I like to call Excel gymnastics to get it to look the way it needs. It could potentially run some validation against the data, and then it's going to push it into Sage Intacct. I didn't have to come into DataBlend in order to see this. I'm simply doing it for the visual so you can see how everything is happening as it goes through the process. But you could have just sent the email and then never came into DataBlend, never gone into Intacct, and it would still go through the entire process. If I go into Intacct here and I go to General Ledger, let's go to my journal entries. It's going to go into my PYRJ. I can send it wherever you'd like. Once it's in here, here's my entry. This would have just been created. And you can see pretty standard payroll entry. You can populate any dimensions you want. You can have allocations. You can have additional employer costs. You can use custom fields, custom dimensions. You can post at any tier in the hierarchy within Intacct. And so very flexible as far as where this data is going. I'm just using the example of going into Intacct. If you worked with other software, you had different use cases that were not payroll related, not Intacct related, not a problem. We can do that as well. So again, very flexible, very powerful connection that is still really easy to work with and gives you control of when that data is making it to your destination. I had mentioned earlier that there was also validation that could happen. And so on the screen here, I received this email just now when this ran, and you'll see that it is going to run some validation in what we call a data quality report that's going to, in this case, look for any payroll amounts that are significantly higher than the prior payroll. You can check for really anything you'd like in the data. And so if you're doing any type of invoicing or receivables and you want to check for primary contacts, if you don't want to have any vendor spend go over a certain budget, any of these things is really up to you what you have this validation do, but you can assign this as part of the workflow so that it either notifies you or whomever, or you can make it have a hard stop so it doesn't even send the data to the target system if it doesn't pass that validation. It also attaches the file. So if you had, let's say, 100 different records that you wanted to go through, you can download it, work with that data, clean it up, make your adjustments, potentially, update the applicable fields, and then rerun it. But if you wanted this just to be a warning to your HR manager to maybe take a look at Joe or Joanna's or Peter or Bob's payroll, make sure that everything was accurate, you can do that as well. So very flexible. And this is just another layer where you're able to not only automate the process, but then also have confidence that there's some validation going on and keep that data integrity as part of this process at its highest point. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone.